Community College is in order now. So why don't we all join in the Pledge of Allegiance in the I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, please.
Okay, we're next on the approval of the agenda. And members, you've had it before you for a while, but I would like to amend it a bit. It's your pleasure, if you will, and move the action items, item 8, move it up to just after the consent agenda. And the reason being, I understand we're going to have several folks here to talk about what we are also going to talk about as part of the meeting, and I just thought, well, maybe it'd be better to, have that closer together than further down the agenda. So unless there's objection, I will move the agenda, item 8 up to be just under item V, the consent of agenda. Okay? All right. Given that, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Lyle.
Second.
Thank you, Carol. Okay. The agenda is approved. Now, let's see. Okay, now it's time for public comment. Timothy?
Good afternoon, Chair Peterson. We do have 7 members from the community that would like to speak. I have one more. I need to slip into your deck here.
Okay, all right. Okay, I guess we start with Dr. Pilch, our good superintendent of District 6 schools. Where here she is. Oh, there we are.
And as a reminder to our speakers, we have 3 minutes unless the chair decides to extend that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am Deirdre Pilch, and I am the superintendent of the Greeley-Evans School District 6. Thank you for having me this afternoon, Dr. Bornstein and trustees. I appreciate being here. I am privileged to be a part of a partnership that is preschool through 20 and beyond. And that partnership is extended between Dr. Bornstein, Dr. Feinstein from University of Northern Colorado, and me at District 6. This partnership has allowed us to talk a lot about the possibility here at Ames and the possibility of this new Welcome Center. And I am here to tell you that with serving 23,000 students in District 6 and having nearly 2,500 staff members, we are sorely in need of additional space here in our community. And District 6 selfishly would certainly take advantage of such space. We often use the space from the University of Northern Colorado. Our partnerships with the City of Greeley allow us to use the Union Colony Civic Center, the Rec Center space for meeting, and you know what? We often are not able to find the space we need on the date that we need it, because there's a lot of us and there's a lot of need here in the community. I'm especially excited about the possibility that you might build a space that would actually hold 2,500 people. What that means is there would actually be a space right here in our community that all of my staff could convene in, where we could possibly rent to provide professional development and to provide other opportunities for our teachers, and most importantly, opportunities for our 23,000 students. So, as part of this partnership that Dr. Bornstein and Dr. Feinstein and I have been able to form, what we know is we have big work to do for all of the people from the time they are born until the time they're ready to enter the workforce. And so the more we can do that as a partner, and the more we can share our facilities, and the more we have to share, the greater place we're going to be as a community. So please consider, I urge you to approve this project. It is part of the infrastructure in our community. And District 6 just contributed to that. Our voters did. They passed a $395 million bond issue yesterday. We're contributing to the infrastructure as you are. And as I look at this beautiful facility that you have here on your campus, and you consider additional facilities, you're contributing to the infrastructure of our community. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, Dr. Feinstein. Feinstein. Where is he? Oh, there he comes.
I'm Andy Feinstein. I'm the president of UNC. Thank you, Chair Peterson, for having me here, and President Bornstein and the other trustee members. You know, this is a college, one of the best community colleges in the state of Colorado. And you have about almost 8,000 students, I believe, if that's not mistaken. Almost 9,000 students. And so certainly a welcome center and a venue for this institution to gather and meet, whether it be students, faculty, and staff, is vitally important to their success. It certainly is in competition for UNC. In fact, I look at it as an opportunity for us to work more closely together. And students that are successful at Ames, and many of you have probably heard of the Ames to UNC program, but we want the Ames College to be very successful, and this facility is one way in which they can do that. It's not just a place for students to gather and faculty and staff to gather. This is also a one-stop shop for students to get the help and support that they need. So I hope that you support this. I certainly do, and on behalf of UNC, I wish you luck in this endeavor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have to correct one thing you said. We are the best. We're not.
There you go.
We are not one of. We are the best.
I stand corrected.
Okay, Roy Otto.
I'm Roy Otto, and I'm blessed to be Greeley City Manager, and this is my hometown, and I'm also blessed to be a neighbor of Ames. I live just on the other side of campus here, and I want you all to know you've been great neighbors for the 20 years I've been back home here. And to demonstrate what good neighbors you are, Dr. Bornstein and her staff reached out to us immediately at the City of Greeley to talk about this project and to make sure that any of our concerns about potential competition for the UCCC, the Downtown Hotel and Conference Center, et cetera, would be addressed. And I am more than confident that those issues are addressed. I would submit to you that through collaboration, it's going to be great for all of those facilities, I think. And actually talking to Scott Ehrlich some about this project as well, we just think it makes Greeley that much more attractive to a much wider breadth of potential events that we can bring to this community. And it is our concerted desire to work with you to recruit those various events to this community to benefit all of us. I also would echo the understanding of your need for a facility on this campus to celebrate the great students that go to this institution, and I would encourage the board to support this project as I do in the city of Greeley, Colorado. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Scott Ehrlich.
I thank the board and Leo for letting me speak today. I am in support of this project. I was one of the original founders of the College Promise here at Ames. Ames is near and dear to my heart, and I'm really excited to see the collaboration we have today between UNC District 6 and Ames. When we started the College Promise about 10 years ago, that was one of our goals with the program, was to gain more collaboration and ultimately help a lot more kids. And I think we're doing that in our community, so great to see. I'm also fortunate to be one of the investors in the new convention center downtown in the Doubletree Hotel. And I can tell you as investors, the reason we wanted that to exist in Greeley was we all felt strongly that there were a lot of events, meetings, conferences around the state and around the region that never considered coming to Greeley because we didn't have a venue that would accommodate their needs. We're 26 months in with the new hotel, and I can tell you we've gotten a lot of visitors to Greeley that had never been here before, and they're enjoying our community. And I think we're really doing a great job of improving and enhancing our reputation as a community by having those people here. I think it's great for everyone. It's great for UNC. It's great for the city, and it's been a good thing. I would encourage the Welcome Center because I think particularly with the 2,500 occupancy center, it's another way that we can get people to come here and do events that we currently can't do. So, our event center, we can accommodate at the very most about 700 people, which was badly needed. But to have another venue of this size, I think would only complement our efforts and be a great asset for the whole community to enjoy. So I would strongly encourage you to approve this new Welcome Center. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Kelly Jackson.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Board members, and Dr. Bornstein. I'm Kelly Jackson, and today I represent the Centennial Rotary Group. I'd like to read a letter in support of the Welcome Center design, build, and expansion request from the board president of the Centennial Rotary. Just recently, the Rotary Club was so-called booted out of the Greeley Country Club, and after assessing our community's locations on this side of town, they selected Ames because we were the best option and provided the most opportunity for growth. With that comes along their support and excitement of the Welcome Center build out because they are excited about having the opportunity to profile guest speakers that will allow them to enhance the growth of their club by having the space available to do so. To whom it may concern, Greeley Centennial Rotary is extremely excited to start meeting at Ames Community College on November 7th. Our board did a citywide search of places to hold our weekly meetings and decided Ames Community College was the place for us. The convenience and central location made it a great choice for our club. While deciding on Ames as a meeting place, we also heard that Ames was considering building a welcome center that would house a state-of-the-art facility for meetings. This really got our board and club excited. Traditionally, our board has hosted very prominent speakers and people such as the governor, secretary of state, Colorado Attorney General, as well as CEOs from different industries. A meeting space like the Welcome Center would offer, sorry, he's got a mistype here. The Welcome Center would offer us to bring in guests like these, but would give us the option to open our meetings to others so that it includes students from Ames as well as our community partners. They could hear these presentations from these prominent individuals. It is safe to say that Greeley Centennial Rotary is in full support of this project. Sincerely, Jonathan Seitz, President, Greeley Centennial Rotary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Martin Lind.
Hi, Board. It's an honor to be here. I'm a Weld County resident, taxpayer within your district, and I'm really, again, honored to be here to show my support for this facility. I'm really respect Dr. Bornstein's leadership, because when she came to me about it, my first comment was, could be a slippery slope. Go reach out to the stakeholders that just invested in downtown Greeley and make sure there's not a conflict. And it's so great that they're here representing themselves. And it's, I did sit in the back of the room there and watch Scott Ehrlich come up and thought to myself, well, about 40 years ago, at about 1 in the morning in the parking lot of the Armory. I'm pretty confident there would never be a group want to hear what either Scott or I ever had to say. So there's a little history there. But it is, I applaud the effort, I applaud the vision. We are very involved in a lot of regional projects, and I just think this is a terrific compliment. What I do want to, excuse me, what I do want to make sure that I caution you with is that I sit on the board of many districts and tax assessed, and we're all kind of drunk with oil and gas money right now, and I guess that's a relative term. I think we all understand that term, and it's so easy to see that, but let's make sure that we don't lose sight of what Ames Fabric is, and that's that outreach. I have a lot of family members that are, and friends that have been so blessed by the Ames outreach in high school, in middle school, and without a single penny invested in bricks and mortar, that touch of those kids in those schools already is so fantastic. And so many lives have been changed by this institution. This new Welcome Center will just do that much more. And to put it a little bit in perspective, we do a lot of demography study with our Colorado Eagles, and there's about 800,000 people in one NOCO right now, which is kind of Longmont to Cheyenne, but that's a big number. And at a 2% growth rate, that's even a bigger number. And every year that number on that denominator gets bigger. And to put it in perspective, in our territory, in one NOCO, there's enough people moving every month to NOCO to fill this new building. Mm-hmm. So put that in perspective. I don't think that you're overreaching. I don't think that you're putting yourself in a position, because it will be full. Northern Colorado is just a great place to live, and it's grown for the last 60 years since we've been here, and it'll continue. So I applaud this effort. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have, sorry, I can't read the first name, but Rodriguez.
Abby Rodriguez.
Abby, okay. Looks like more than one.
A whole lot of Abbies.
Good afternoon to the Board of Trustees. My name is Abby Rodriguez, and I'm an Ames student here, and I'm also a part of the Campus Activities Programming Board. I'm also joined by many other student leaders, and we all stand before you today in support of the new auditorium building. As an active student leader who runs events and loves to see students getting involved, the prospect of this new space is incredibly exciting. And as I think about the possibilities that this new space would allow us to utilize, we could, we could invite nationally recognized speakers, host TED Talks, theater productions, movie nights, and so many other things. And with this, I can wholeheartedly say that this new auditorium space will have a tremendous positive impact on the student experience. Through my time here, I've learned that Ames redefines the traditional view of what's possible for a community college, and I really think that this project is an extension of that reality. So on behalf of the students here at Ames and future students that have yet to come to our remarkable college, I plead to the Board of Trustees to approve the proposal for the new auditorium building. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank all of you.
Chair Peterson, that concludes the public comments.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along, the next item on our agenda now is the consent agenda. And would anyone like to move that we approve those minutes from the October 2nd board meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of the consent agenda as listed here on our agenda items.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Jean. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Carroll. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. That motion has carried. So now let's move right into the action items. And Okay. Chuck, you're on.
All right. Mr. Chairman, Dr. Bornstein, members of the board, I've asked Mike Millsaps to join up here at the podium as we go through this action item. If there's questions that either of us can answer for the board. Again, you have before you agenda item 8A. This is the Facilities Plan 2018-2023 revised. As you may recall, at the October meeting, this action item was tabled until the November meeting. So this item is an addition to our existing facilities plan that was passed last year. We are requesting a $26 million increase to that facility plan. The spread of that money is for the 3 projects on the Greeley campus, encompassing the student commons, the welcome center, and then the meeting space and conference, or not conference space, but ballroom type space for our events on campus to support those types of activities. We've had the work session this morning, so we've gone through a lot of data. For the record, I'm just making note that we have brought this to the board at the October meeting, at the September meeting, and at the August meeting in graduate kind of progressive conversations with the board. This has been a progress or a progression of this project, as Mike highlighted that in the work session. This is how we build projects on the Ames colleges, on our campuses. And a lot of things have been said, and I'll just make one last comment that this truly is a generational project. I mean, this is a project that will serve this college and this community for the next generation. And we're very excited about it, what it means for our students, what it means for our faculty and staff, and ultimately helping with community relations as such. So at that point, I will stop talking and turn it over to the board for your discussion and questions. And again, Mike and I are both here to answer any further questions.
Okay, members, you have before you the facilities plan for 2018 to 2023. And it's being asked for approval by the staff, and thus would someone, any of you, desire to move that motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve agenda item 8A.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Discussion. There's a motion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to divide the question into 3 parts so that we can vote on the 3 increases separately. As they were presented in the work session, the $1.875 million for the student commons, $2.1 million for the welcome center, and $22.025 million for the meeting space.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded.
Do we vote on that?
Can you do that within another motion and
Yes.
second on the floor?
Yes.
I think so. Okay. So there is a motion on the floor to break the vote into 3 separate items. And we have a second. So
I would second it.
I don't know, somebody seconded it, didn't they? Yeah, okay, that's all. Okay, we've got a motion. Is there discussion?
It is not, I'm sorry, it's not a debatable motion. So you can't have any discussion, it's just a vote.
I'll ask the question.
Okay. Question has been called for. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. No.
No.
Okay, that passes then 3-2. Now, I don't know where we go from here. How do we decide?
I think you need a motion for each one of these.
Right, yeah. So,
Motion to approve, or ask for a motion for the student comments for this amount and a second, and then we have that discussion. Ask for a motion.
okay, all right, I got it. Okay, what the boss is telling me is that the first one would be to move that we approve the student center, which would be the first item of the three. Is there a second? Or is there a motion?
I don't think you need a motion. I think you just vote on them separately. Just say all in
Right.
favor of $1.875 million for this student
Well, I thought
comments.
that's what I was doing.
You don't need to make another motion. You just call for a vote. We've already got the motion and a second on the floor.
Which divides.
No,
And we
we had a
still-
motion prior to that for the whole thing. That motion is already on the floor.
Okay, and so since that motion was to divide it, there can't be discussion?
Not of the motion to divide, but now there can be discussion on these
Okay.
individual pieces.
Okay, that's what I thought I was
Yeah.
doing. So we don't need a motion by your original motion that student center is on the table, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so now we can discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is there discussion?
I think the cabinet and the staff have presented this whole concept proportionately well for us. We have full agreement from the board, in my opinion. I am happy to provide these structures, these buildings. I think it's not me, it's our monies, it's the constituents' monies, and everybody here. And it's nice to hear the reaffirmation coming from our community leaders and in support of some of these ideas that the college has come up with and moving forward with it. So I'm very happy and content with this portion.
Further discussion?
I too feel it's a good project. I think it will accomplish the goals that we've identified for it, and I'm very appreciative of the support expressed by our community leaders for this project. So I'm supportive of all three components and ready to vote on them individually if that's the approach we're going to take.
Okay. Without further discussion,
I
I'm
think I would
sorry.
like to
I'm
weigh in.
sorry, I didn't see
I
it.
too am in favor of all three portions of this project. I'm really actually extremely proud of the board that we have vetted this project to the extent we have. This is a big deal. This is a lot of money, and we do take it seriously, and we want all parties interested, our constituents, everybody here, to know that we do take this seriously. And I think we have looked at all components of this. I'm extremely pleased with the support we're getting from the community. I know I have talked to a lot of people out there, just ordinary tax-paying citizens out there, that most all of them that I talked to have at some point in time been affected by Ames. I don't think you could throw a rock in this community without hitting somebody that hasn't been to Ames or somehow been influenced by Ames. So even those people, should we approve this project, are going to get the benefit of this project in the long run. It'll truly benefit the entire community. I appreciate the support we're getting from the folks downtown in Greeley. I really believe that this is going to incredibly enhance the opportunities that businesses in the city of Greeley are going to have to take advantage of people coming into town, introducing them to our community, showing them the assets that we have in this beautiful community, and hopefully and almost assuredly they'll come back to visit. So, and then of course our students. I love the concept. We talked about it in our work session. The concept of started out in the Welcome Center and come back and finish in the same spot. I think that's incredibly symbolic. and very, very important in today's students. This is not only going to serve as an event center, which is a lot of what we've talked about today. I would rather just keep it as a welcome center and let everybody share it, but certainly have events there. But it's also going to serve as a facility to study and to train and to practice. I can envision somewhere down the road, maybe, we'll have a student group, a program for hospitality, and when they might have events, they might actually manage events and use this as a center to do it and to arrange for transportation downtown and work with the businesses downtown to make sure that we have places for people to go eat and enjoy the nightlife. So for all those reasons and a whole bunch more that I could talk about, I'm very, very supportive of this project. Thank you.
I've been on the board for 8 years as of today, and for that entire period of time, we've talked about and had on the books plans for a student center. And initially, it was going to be another building kind of out that way, and it has morphed into this, and I'm delighted that we're finally at the point where we're going to have a dedicated facility for our students and for their use that will be theirs.
Okay, further discussion. Let's do a roll call. We've been doing that, I guess, sort of beginning, and let's do it again. So,
I'm good with that.
Madam Helper, can you call a roll, please?
This is student comments.
Yeah, right, that's,
This is for the student comments.
it's student center, so student commons, whatever. Go ahead. Call the roll.
The 9.5 million.
It's the, yeah.
Trustee Oxiger.
Yes.
Trustee Howe.
Yes.
Trustee O'Hara.
Yes.
Trustee Russell.
Yes.
Chair Peterson.
Yes. So that motion carries unanimously. Next one would be the 9 million.
No.
No,
What is it? What is it?
19.
I can't see.
19.
The Welcome Center, whatever those numbers are,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that one's $2.1 million.
My
Increase.
bifocals aren't working or something, so.
Yeah, it's a $2.1 million increase in the budget for the
Okay.
Welcome Center.
Oh, okay, now I can see it. Okay, discussion. It's on the floor.
Again,
Or
for the
table.
Welcome Center, we've listened to many stories from Sarah regarding the guidance and admission support that's always needed for our students, and you probably can never have enough, I would think would be one understatement. This particular area is so badly needed, and we need to kind of separate the student commons from the Welcome Center, but they're both integral, and they'll be relatively very close with one another in their proximity. And again, this is just brings the college to another level of experience for our students, for our potential students. All of the numbers that we have in front of us, I have full confidence that Mike and the cabinet and the staff will do their best to maintain the budgets at a minimum and do a great job, something that we'll be all proud of. I have no, thank you.
Okay, further discussion? We're good? Okay, once again, let's call the roll.
Trustee Oxiger.
Yes.
Trustee Howe.
Yes.
Trustee O'Hara.
Yes.
Trustee Russell.
Yes.
Chair Peterson.
Yes. Okay, that motion carries, or that amount carries or something, unanimously. Next is the 22,025,000 meeting space. My bifocals are not working, Mark, I'm sorry. Discussion.
We went over this in the work session. I think this is the one part that it's kind of the cat that ate the canary, so it slowed the process down a little bit. But we've come through a storm of questions, and again, I have complete confidence in the monies that get spent here will be well harnessed and well used. We've gotten information we needed. We have the community support individually. We're going to hold you to it, by the way. We need that support as well. Occasionally we get into those conflicts when people ask us when we spend large sums of monies and whys, and the whys are always important to answer. And so I've gotten to that point where I can hear the story now. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion?
I'm pleased that we're finally going to have a way to bring our citizens of the area to our Ames campus. I think there are a lot of people out there that don't understand the good facilities we have, the technology, and bring them on campus and exposing them to all the good things that Ames has to offer is going to be of a great benefit for marketing our institution and helping to bring in more students. So I too feel that Mike and Chuck will watch the numbers closely, and I'm supportive of going forward with it.
Further discussion?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk, excuse me, about partnerships. I think it's incredibly important, the partnerships that we're forming. We're not just talking about them, we're actually doing them, as we've seen with the District 6 and with UNC. I think a facility like this is going to only enhance that potential to create further partnerships and to grow those partnerships. As we look at our economy, we look at our region, more and more and more, we have to consider regionalization. It's absolutely, I think, imperative the way growth is occurring. And I'm incredibly impressed by the influence that Northern Colorado is beginning to have on the rest of the state of Colorado because of our regionalization and because of our partnership. So if for no other reason than that, I would support this.
Further discussion?
I have, several years ago, I visited LCCC, the Laramie County Community College in Laramie. And I wouldn't have gone there except for the fact that they have a beautiful auditorium and had a concert that a group that I've gone to California to hear. And it's a valuable resource for that community. I think there is that potential for this meeting space to be a valuable resource for this community. It's not going to be particularly a resource for the part of the county that I represent. It's a little far for Fort Lupton folks to come to use this facility. And one of the things that I brought up in the work session, and I will reiterate, is that all of our campuses need comparable space for their students to have activities, for them to have growth opportunities, for the staff to have those opportunities. And as I leave the board, I hope that that will be considered, because South County, and I know, Lyle, that you talk about regionalization, and if you say in my part of the county, well, you have to go to Greeley for that, them's fighting words.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have to defend South County and say, we have needs too. That doesn't negate, I don't think, what this facility will do for Greeley and potentially for Windsor. But I just want everybody to keep in mind that it's not going to serve our entire taxing district or our entire service area. That said, I will support it. but with those reservations, and I have issued some other reservations in the work session.
Okay.
Just one other
Okay.
thing. And just so
Certainly.
everybody understands, we're moving, or we're not moving, but this is a budget that rose from $8 million to $30 million. And that was something that gave us fair reason to ask good questions. And I really appreciate Chuck, Mike, Dr. B, everyone stepping up and doing their best to answer those questions.
Further discussion? I need some help, that's all there is to it. I haven't commented yet, but I want to now. And Trustee Ruckel, your comments about how we should make sure that we're serving the south part of the county. We said as a board to this group, you know, this is a community college, so go out and see what the community needs. Not just, students are first, there's no doubt about that. And that's what they did. And so I'm very confident that what you asked will be followed through. I'm very confident of it. I'm looking at
We'll make sure.
four current members here, and there's a fifth one, I think, in the audience. But so I feel really good about it, because I think that we have they have done what we've asked, and they've done a heck of a good job of it, which is what several of you have said. And to quote one of my colleagues on the board, is that you hire good staff and you get out of their way. And I think that's what we've done. This is what we need, you guys. Go do it. So, thank you. Call a roll, please.
Trustee Oxig.
Yes.
Trustee Howe.
Yes.
Trustee O'Hara.
Yes.
Trustee Ruckel.
Yes.
Chair Peterson.
Yes. That passes unanimously. Thank you, board. Thank you, staff. We have just taken a major step into the future. And even though Dr.
Chuck, are you all right?
That's right, we need the awe from the crowd.
Even though Dr. Feinstein suggested that we were one of the fine institutions in Colorado, we are number one, and we just proved it right now. So, okay, next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have before you action item 8B. This is for the resolution to authorize the negotiation of sale of certain land. As I've briefed the board in the past, the Colorado Department of Transportation has requested to purchase 0.15 acres of our property located down in Berthoud. And as I reported last time, we had the two appraisals. They met our appraisal. So they're offering the price that we asked for, and they met our price. And so it's my recommendation for the board to approve this resolution to sell 0.15 acres of our Berthoud property to the Colorado Department of Transportation for their realignment of I-25. And this will greatly enhance the visibility and accessibility of our property east of I-25. So, Mr. Chairman, that's my recommendation for approval.
Thank you. That you've heard the recommendation, members. Is there a motion to approve item 8B?
I would so move to approve item 8B.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Mark. Thank you, Carol. Any discussion?
Yes, is it my understanding that if we did not agree on a negotiated price, that they could use eminent domain?
Yes.
Okay. And I know some years ago, a question came up where someone was asking, another entity was asking for a donation of land from the college, and we couldn't do that unless we passed a resolution stating that we were never, ever going to need that land for ourselves. We don't have to do that in this case. Is that correct? Because we're selling it, not donating it?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think this is for the good of the campus, or if we ever do need that, if we've got a good entryway. But I think we also are helping the state of Colorado, making that highway a lot safer than having that curve that they have right there under that bridge. So we're helping the whole state in that case. So.
Well, and I think by doing this project, helping them complete their project makes the rest of that property of ours, it gives it enhanced value as well.
Right, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, true. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. That motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes my action items.
Dr. Rotharmer and item 8C.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, thank you very much for allowing me an opportunity to present this action item to you. And if I could call up Dean Abernathy and others. Thank you. It is absolutely my pleasure to provide you additional information in support of action item 8C, emeritus status for Judy Gump. And I just wanted to provide a few additional highlights for you about her early childhood education time of over 21 years here at Ames Community College. So Judy built an effective early childhood education program to meet the varied needs of our community and surrounding areas. She also developed many of the first online classes offered for this program, collaborated with on-site Ames Child Development Center as a lab supervisor, and supervised the initial accreditation project with the National Association of the Education of Young Children. So not only has she had significant contributions to Ames Community College and our students, but also significant and exemplary service to society beyond our institution. Judy worked on disaster relief teams as a regional coordinator to help the young children involved in Hurricane Andrew, 9/11 in New York, Oklahoma tornadoes, Texas, North Carolina, and North Dakota flooding. She also cooperated with community center directors for field sites for students to do their experience hours for classes. And this is just a very high-level overview of the many, many contributions that Judy made to Ames Community College, to Colorado, and also to our country. So it is with great pride that I would recommend the board the approval of emeritus status for Judy Gump.
Okay. There is not a motion, but a suggestion on the floor.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve that?
I move approval of emeritus status for Judy Gump.
I would second.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Lyle. Any discussion?
Thank you for everything you've done for early childhood.
Yeah.
Cool program.
I would say this was very much deserved.
My wife would be very
much.
proud of you, too, as well.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion is carried.
All right.
Congratulations.
Speech.
No speeches. A couple sentences, though. I always felt very privileged to be connected with Ames. It's a wonderful institution. And I'm extremely honored about this action. Thank you all very, very much.
Okay.
Judy, since you didn't take the opportunity, did you want to introduce your guest that's in the audience?
Sure. Some of you have seen me over there sitting, and I'm going to ask her to stand if she could, but if you can't, don't worry about it. This is, I would like to introduce my mother, who's lived with me for many years. And I have to brag a little bit. She's actually 97 years old.
For God's sake.
She was also an early childhood person. So I've had a lot of experience with her. We were partners for many years, way back when we actually ran early childhood programs. And I'm honored that she felt able to come today. Thank you.
All right.
Well, okay, let's see what we have now. Item 8D.
Chair Peterson, members of the board, in the last work session, we talked about, and I provided you some information regarding the new EMS AAS degree, which would establish a more defined pathway for students entering the career of emergency medical services. So based on the conversation we had in the work session, I would ask for approval to create an EMS AAS degree.
Okay, members, you've heard the suggestion. Is there a motion to approve this action item?
Mr. Chair, as a former paramedic, I'm honored that I have seen the need for this over the years, and I'm honored to make a motion to approve this.
Okay, is there a second?
I would second it.
Thank you, Gene. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Lyle, you can't vote twice.
Aye.
Okay. That motion passes unanimously. 8E.
Thank you. This recommendation is to archive the current wildland certificate, and as we discussed last month, the enrollment in this particular program has been low for several years, and what we have done from last year, we have also confirmed that there are no current students in that program that we would need to teach out. So based on the enrollment and the other avenues that are available for individuals within our state to acquire this training, we are asking the board permission to archive this certificate.
Okay, you've heard the action item 8C. Is there a motion to approve it?
I would move for approval of the motion for action item 8E.
Okay, thank you, Gene. Is there a second?
I would second it.
Thank you, Mark. Any discussion?
Having been here a few years ago when we had a gathering in the summer of wildland, the wildland fire folks from all over the state, I'm sad to see us lose this program. I understand why. I hope that we will be in a position to revive it should the need occur.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. That motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Chair Peterson.
Okay, now moving back into the actual schedule of the agenda. Representatives to the board. Where are we?
Surprised that there's no more demand for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have called. Okay, Student Government Association, Chris Warren.
Good afternoon to the Board of Trustees, Chair Peterson, Dr. Bornstein, and others in attendance today. As always, we've got a lot of amazing things happening with our student body here at Ames, and I guess I can cut the part out where I got on my knees and wept for the approval of the building. But yes, I'd like to start with some student organization updates from September. We've got the Ames English Honor Society. They hosted a back-to-school bash on the Greeley campus. Also, the newly formed InterVarsity Christian Fellowship Club had a 3-day regional fall conference down in Buena Vista. I also wanted to quickly share the numbers from our annual Trick or Treat Track Halloween event. This year we were blessed to have over 400 students, staff, faculty, family members, and friends that came and participated. It was a blast getting to help out with it, and thank you to all of the staff organizations that came and set up tables and games for the students to play, as well as the student organizations that did the same. Moving on to student government business. In the past month, we've had 2 opportunities to start getting involved with other colleges' student governments in the area. So Ames student government is now officially a part of the new Colorado Student Government Coalition. We are one of 15 colleges that are represented on this coalition, all of which are Colorado colleges. And the purpose of this coalition is to advocate for student needs at the state level and also to open doors of communication between the different Colorado colleges and to start sharing best practices and techniques for getting students engaged and involved. We also had the opportunity to send myself and Michaela, another one of our SGA members, to attend the first ever Rocky Mountain Student Government Conference. This conference was a day of training, idea swapping, and getting connected with other schools. It truly was a lot of fun and a lot of learning. As for things SGA has been doing here at Ames, we've just recently switched the name of our monthly event. We used to call them town halls. We're going to switch them to student gatherings now. Students thought that town hall was just too formal and wouldn't come because they thought it was super formal. So we're hoping that it, a little less aggressive of a title, encourages students to come and hang out with us and tell us how their experience has been going. Sorry, I lost my spot. So with that, we had our October student gathering just last week, and it was a massive success, despite the fact that we happened to schedule it on Tuesday morning, the day when it decided to blizzard outside. So we were kind of expecting not that many students to show up, but we managed to get over 60 students to come and interact and answer questions on their way to classes. So the snow did not keep the students away, or at least all of them. At this meeting, we asked a lot of questions around the new event center auditorium space that's now approved. Students are excited about the prospect, and now that it's actually happening, have more to be excited about. So moving right along, I want to finish by highlighting a couple events that are happening in this upcoming month. Brought to us by Hannah Toffelmoyer, we've got a hot cider and caramel apple bar event happening on the Fort Lupton campus on November 11th. Students can get free hot apple cider and caramel apples. Next, another event coming up this month is run by Abby Rodriguez, who you heard during public comment, and it's called Cupcakes, Coffee, and Kindness. It happens on the Greeley campus, and it celebrates World Kindness Day through free cupcakes and coffee, and also a random selecting of an act of kindness to give to a stranger that they meet throughout the rest of their day. That event is happening on November 13th, and as always, more detailed info on time and locations of those events can be found in the written report. That's all I've got for this month. Does the board have any questions for me at this time?
Go ahead, Carol.
I was just going to say thank you for your comments this morning at the legislative breakfast.
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I certainly would agree. What I was going to say is the human trafficking 101. That sounds like a pretty interesting kind of a program.
Yeah.
And that's yet to come.
That is also coming up in this next month, too.
Right,
yes.
So. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
you. Good report. Faculty, Mark Moody.
Good afternoon, Board Trustees, Chair Pearson, Dr. Bornstein. We have a couple of faculty accomplishments. 2 of them actually are benefiting our students the most. Our instructor of biology, Emma Murray, actually created a new lab manual for Biology 101 that's actually lowered costs from an outdated one. So it's actually, again, going to help our students because we're always students first. And also Carol Brown, instructor of anatomy and physiology. She also created a workbook that will help the students for both the anatomy classes and the physiology 1 and 2 classes. And it's actually also helped with engagement. So it goes to show, again, students first and move towards, of course, the OER. And then we have several, our whole music department that's actually doing a recital here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here in this theater. Dr. Rich Busson, our own Brooke Owsley, who's our other board rep, Darlene Muir, Stephanie Baker, Michael Karp, Sarah Schuart, Ivana Mukin, and Thomas Wielander. So they'll be having a faculty recital here at 7 p.m. and everybody's encouraged to come. I know I'm definitely going to try to come. And then for conferences, Professor of Accounting Lori Hatchell, she attended the National American Accounting Association Conference in San Francisco in August, and she actually led 2 panel discussions back to the 80s and techniques for teaching and grading communication and critical thinking. So she was able to network with colleagues, get more aspects, and again, becoming a more student engagement in the classroom, and also as network with our faculty here to pretty much tell us, ways to help out students. And then for community involvement, our Associate Professor of Education in AAA, Denise Pearson, became a board member of Bridging the Gaps, the Dyslexia Center. It's a nonprofit organization here in northern Colorado and Greeley, and it's really provide dyslexia awareness, which again will help our students in case they're scared maybe to, come about for it, because I know, again, students first. And again, it actually helps out provide screenings for a disorder and allows organization for research and also for scientifically based interventions. And then we have a new thing here called Faculty Voices, and just some quotes from our faculty on campus. And the question was asked, what has been the best part of the fall 2019 semester so far? And our instructor of CAD, Johnny Souders, said the full classroom of students increasing the offering to 2 sections, which has grown there for CAD. And he also said after a long summer of quiet, it is nice to have students back in activity in the building. I know I can say the same thing with my GIS classes. And then the part-time instructor of sociology, Mark Lambert, said, my students this semester seem to be more engaged in the classroom than ever before. I think part of this is due to the student orientation and better understanding of what they can expect here. So that student orientation has really helped out our students so they know what to expect and, of course, know that we're here to support them. And then finally, Professor of English and Literature, Kendra Griffin, said, my best experiences so far this semester, watching my writing students transform and gain confidence and experiencing support and camaraderie with my colleagues. So again, showing that how as faculty will help out each other, one another, and also through different departments. That's all I have. Are there any questions anybody has?
Questions, board members?
I don't have any.
Thank you. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always doing a good job. Staff Association. Jen Seedoff.
Good afternoon, Chairman Peterson, Board trustee members, and Dr. B. We finished up our blood drives, and total numbers, we had 19 for the Greeley campus, 14 for the Windsor campus, and 7 for Fort Lupton. And this was in conjunction with Garth England Blood Center. So we'll be looking at doing this again in the spring, so please keep an eye out in the daily for that. An upcoming event, we have our annual event at the World Food Bank, and this is open to all students, faculty, staff, and their family members. I brought my 6-year-old daughter last year, and she loved it. So please consider coming to the food bank and helping out. I hear that Artie will be there. So reach out to Nan Prince. This will be Friday, November 22nd. Some staff accomplishments. Barbara Kingston and Kathleen Wilson from Facilities and Operations attended Insight's 2019 conference, September 29th, 2019 to October 1st, 2019 at the Gaylord in Aurora. The conference included what's new and trending in real estate, facilities, and asset management, including building surveying, capital planning, engineering information management, maintenance management, space scheduling, and more. The main reason for attending this annual conference is AIM's space scheduling software, EMS. At the conference, both Barbara and Kathleen learned best practices from the world's leading companies, networked with 1,500 of their peers, and learned about shared experiences. Attendees heard practical ideas for increasing efficiencies, reducing costs, and maximizing value. They got an inside look at new product features and interacted and engaged with other professionals. 3 of our academic advisors attended the NACADA conference in Kentucky from October 20th to the 23rd with 3,000 other academic advisors, faculty, and administrators from around the country. Attending all different sessions, the advisors have brought back new ideas and best practices to better support AIMS students. And finally, I would like to give a congratulations to our fleet mechanic, Daniel Tukanzik. Yes. Who is here today. Daniel completed a 5-semester program in the automotive repair program here at AIMS. Oh, and with a 4.0. And finally, some ripples in recognition. There were quite a few this month, so I would like to highlight just a few. Sarah Enner, nominated by Academic Advising Leadership Team. Sarah is an invaluable member of the academic advising team. Her vast knowledge of Banner, Argos, and report building have been an extraordinary help in creating the advising case management model. Without her skill set, we never would have been able to make the progress that we did towards advisor assignments. She has a unique combination of creativity, technical skills, and passion for serving students. Her strong, detailed approach to assisting students and navigating data is unparalleled. She is always looking for ways to serve them more effectively and efficiently and lives within a problem-solving mindset. In addition to all this, Sarah is always willing to help her colleagues and teach them new ways of doing things. Her enthusiasm in sharing her skills to contribute and benefit advisors and students does not go unnoticed. Sarah Enner is an incredible asset to our team, and we would be lost without her. Next is Allison Byerly, Marketing Manager, nominated by Ann Grotness, Executive Assistant to the President. Allison, many thanks to one of the most creative, accommodating, and just plain wonderful people I have ever worked with. Whether it's creating a marketing masterpiece or wrangling a web page, Allison is always there with a smile and sometimes a giggle to willingly lend her expertise to any project. It's been such a joy to see you grow professionally in your position in CCR. You are a true asset to the team and to the college. And finally, Sandy Olson, Staff Executive, Insert, nominated by Nicole Cordova, Staff Associate, Arts and Sciences. Sandy is so deserving for many ripples as she is so amazing at her job. Sandy is always willing to help with any questions, investigate to find an answer, and is prompt in her assistance and responses. She helps keep all of the academic schedulers in the know, up to date, and supported with the scheduling process every semester, and she continually does it with friendliness and kindness. I wanted to take a moment to recognize the great job Sandy does on a regular basis. Thanks, Sandy. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Great report.
Members?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, now we're down to the item 7, I think. CEO President's Report. So, Dr. Bernstein.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. I'd like to ask Kelly Jackson to come up and introduce our Excellence at AIMS for the month of November.
Chairman, Board of Trustees, and Dr. B. I do want to state that with the rearrangement of the agenda today, it was a tight squeeze for our student to hang around and present, but she was able to make arrangements so that she could remain. Can you imagine moving to a country in which you don't speak the language? Consider how difficult it would be to learn your studies and become a productive and engaged individual in your community. Today's Excellence at AIMS student came to the U.S. in 2006, and by 2012 only had a 20% grasp of the English language. In 2011, she moved to Greeley after having her first child. Unfortunately, she had to leave for a year and a half to complete her permanent residency paperwork. With the support of her father, she came to AIMS, was referred to the TRIO program, and excelled. Described as a dreamer, resilient, and stronger, please welcome this month's AIMS alum, Maria Garcia.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Maria Garcia. I'm a math teacher at Franklin Middle School here in Greeley. I was born and raised in Mexico. As another Latino woman, I grew up in a culture where I was told that my only job as a woman was to cook and learn how to clean. Yeah, so I learned. However, my dad raised me to be different and taught me how to develop critical thinking and stand up for myself. At a very young age, I learned that the most powerful tool that I could have was education. My dad believed that I could do more than just clean and cook, of course, without forgetting about how to clean and cook. I emotionally and mentally overcome being a victim of bullying and 2 attempts of abuse with the help of my dad. We have never been rich, but after my mom beat cancer, we could keep paying my college education, so I had to give up there. After that, I got married and pretty soon pregnant, with no money, not having our own place to live, and a baby on our way. Our only chance to survive is to come and dream the America and have the American dream. So after a lot of thinking and praying, I decided to cross the desert with 7 months of pregnancy. It wasn't easy to leave my people, my country, my culture, my language, and of course, my real Mexican food. I remember that in 2006, when we first moved to Colorado, it was one of the hardest winters, and we couldn't turn on the heater because we didn't have the money to pay for the heater. Living the American dream. Having no papers to work, not able to communicate in English, and not a valid education here in this country, it was very hard for me to find a job and pay for my bills. However, I survived by cleaning houses, churches, selling tamales, babysitting for my friends, and doing construction. Yes, I'm a roofer too. In 2012, after a year in Mexico, separated from my loved ones, I got my resident card. So my first step that I did, it was to sign up for Ames Community College. I didn't have any clue on how to be a student on this country, and very soon I was overwhelmed, translated every single class, learning all the academic terms, having many extra responsibilities that for the first time in my life, I felt insecure. Frustrations, stress, thoughts like I wasn't smart enough, that this place, it wasn't for me, crossed my mind so many times. I remember sharing that I felt like I was a little scared mouse in the middle of hungry cats here. Good thing I'm a cat now in my classroom. There were many times that I wanted to quit, but I felt like I wasn't never going to be enough for school. However, every single time I hear a little voice next to me telling me, "Mami, estoy muy orgullosa de ti. I want to be with you when I grow up." And that was my daughter telling me to not quit, to not give up. So I realized that giving up and quitting, it was not one of my privileges. So I received so much support here during my time here. One of my best experiences of my life is being part of Ames. I was a part of Trio STEM, Catalyst, PTK, and those were a huge blessing for me because I can overcome my fears. Thank you, Dr. B, and thank you, dear members of the board, because every single person that works here, and thank you every single person that works here, because without you, without all your support, I couldn't make it. You help me, you support me to live in my dream. Thank you very much. In 2014, I transferred to UNC to get my bachelor's degree on mathematics. There, I was part of Cumbres and Striker, where I learned more about social justice and I polished my leadership skills. I knew that I want to be a teacher because I want to serve my community and be a role model for my students. I want students to see teachers of their same culture, with similar background, and motivating to get educated. I want to show them that we can dream and we can achieve those dreams. My work experience until now has been a pleasure. Since last year, I work for Upward Bound, a program at UNC designed to help first-generation students and with low income. Then I have the privilege to work at Adams City High School and now Franklin Middle School. Both of them are turnaround schools, so I'm working with most of the challenged students, and I'm very proud of that. At Franklin Middle School, we're not only focused on the learning part, but we are also focused on the emotional stability of the student. That's why we teach them to control their thoughts and their feelings through mindfulness moments every single day. I even have my own group of mentees there, so I'm very happy. Also, all that time I refer Ames as a must-based experience, and some of my students and even my daughter are planning to come in here. At some point of my journey, I thought that I had lost myself. After that, I realized that I wasn't lost. I was changing, I was growing. And sometimes change is painful, but without change, there is no a butterfly. Now, I'm stronger than ever. I know who I am. I'm smart. I'm a teacher. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. I'm an alumni from Ames Community College, and I'm a child of God. This is just the beginning of my journey, and thank you very much for supporting me and for being part of my journey. Thank you.
So Maria, I know you went and sat down really quickly. So just some thank you for doing this. I want to speak into the microphone so everyone can hear me right, but I want to speak to you. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Thank you very much for moving. It's very important for us as a board and as a college community to hear stories from our alums and our current students, because it helps us remember why we're here, why we do what we do, and why it's so important that we're doing what we do. So thank you so much for waiting today and taking the time to share yourself with us, and we're very proud of you.
We're very
so thank
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you for listening.
All right. Dr. Rothamer, would you like to come up and give highlights from the EVP and the Academic Affairs offices, please?
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein, members of the board, Chair Peterson. I want to begin by thanking each of you for taking time out of your busy schedules earlier today to see what our faculty, staff, and facilities teams have done in terms of serving our students, in terms of the tour that you attended at Allied Health. So I think it really shows the amount of effort and work that's being done on behalf, as you see throughout the meeting today, and everything that we're doing. So very much appreciate you going a little bit deeper and getting a deeper sense of what you all do in terms of helping support what we do in terms of academic program. So for this month's report of the President's report, not only continues to highlight the progress that we've done in terms of our strategic planned tactics, but it really highlights the incredible engagement that our teams around Ames, in particular academic affairs, have done in terms of our Ames purpose, which is to build a stronger community. And I just wanted to highlight a few of those items for you from this report. The first one I wanted to share is from the public safety, transportation, and workforce development area, and aviation, in particular air traffic control. So we had our director of aviation and ATC lead faculty attended a conference, and one of the things is you've heard our faculty talk about their different professional development and staff and others going to conferences. That's one of the ways we kind of keep our fingers on the pulse of what's happening in industry. And as you'll learn more and more in the upcoming months about our program feasibility studies and other options, one of the things that they brought back as a learning from there that's an exciting potential opportunity for Ames is the FAA's potential desire to restructure the regulatory restrictions governing the control tower operator or CTO certificate, kind of opening up those opportunities. And with the facilities and staff and equipment that we have here, that it looks like it couldn't be an opportunity for us to fill another significant need in the aviation area. So wanted to highlight that one for you. One of the other things that we did at the beginning of October, and we didn't share with you at the last board meeting, is from our high school programs area. And they hosted, and it's hard to believe, our first annual high school principal breakfast on October 1st. We had 43 principals as well as other high school personnel attend. And really the purpose of that event was to continue to build and maintain the relationship so that we continue to understand what's needed and how we can continue to fill that those gaps. And one of the things I keep saying over and over to our teams is that we're really trying to build those transparent systemic processes and how we work with all of the stakeholders across Ames areas. The last thing I wanted to share with you, and it was another piece that I'm so proud of and what Ames Community College does so well, and that's the care and professional development of the staff. In particular, the Faculty, Teaching, and Learning Center hosted a conference that we had approximately 75 faculty and staff attended and or presented at that conference on Friday, October 4th. But if I could just read a couple of quotes from the faculty attended that really shows the power and interest of these events. And the first one is, "This was a quality conference and just what I needed to rejuvenate myself at this time in the semester." Another participant indicated, "I absolutely love hearing from colleagues about their practices and ideas, and it makes me proud to teach at Ames." So we absolutely look forward to the continued work that we do in terms of serving our students through the development and participation of our faculty and staff. Do you have any questions for me?
Sounds great.
Russ, how was that? I was interested to hear about the principal gathering. How long did that last? Was that like an hour and a half kind of symposium, breakfast symposium?
Yeah, it was a breakfast where we had discussion, we did kind of presentation and engaged them. And I think the key part was making that connection for those relationships to further those conversations, because it really is about that continuous improvement. So they gave up an early part of their morning, even though that they start oftentimes earlier than we do.
And they came from across the county?
Correct.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
much represented across those institutions that we serve through concurrent enrollment.
That's a great coalition.
Absolutely.
So did you reach about every high school?
Not yet, but we will.
Well, you must have gotten close with 43 participants, so sounds great.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Jensen, Vice President for Administrative Services, who we have not seen yet today, is going to come up and give us a budget update and the audit update.
Oh, God.
No, I'm all done. I'm
He's all
topped
done.
out.
He's
Sorry. I'll just phone it in tomorrow, all right? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein. You have before you the budget report for the end of September 2019. I'll quickly go through some of the revenue. Again, in the tuition categories, we continue to be strong in our tuition collections. They're on track, actually a little above both from additional attendance, and so tuition continues to be strong. Our other fees, of course, continue to be strong with all of our programs. Our state appropriations and our general income tax and our general property taxes are all on track. Really, it's a very strong financial picture from the revenue side. We continue to see some royalty monies coming in. Again, it's a little slower than we had last year, and I'll continue to keep you updated on that. And so that's the revenue side of the picture. Again, very strong, and no concerns to alert the board to on that. On the expenditure side, I'm happy to report again that all of our departments continue to spend on budget. I have no concerns to relate to the board there in any of the expenditure categories. We continue to be on track. And again, I continue to always like to say thank you to our budget managers across the college and how they mindfully manage their budgets. So with that, I will stand for any questions on the September 30th budget report.
Any questions, members? Carol?
Not a question, but a comment, something that I had asked Chuck about in our phone conversation. If you look at the student financial aid under expenditures, I always look at where are we this year as compared to last year, and you'll see that we've expended 42% as opposed to 24%, and that's because, as the board has been told in the past, we've made the Ames Scholarship, which is awarded based on your academic progress, your grades. We've made that automatic. Students don't have to apply for it. If you qualify, it's just put into your account. And look at what a difference it has made in how much of our institutional aid is being used and given to students. I think that's awesome.
Thank you for that comment. That is one less barrier for our students.
Yep, very true. Further comments, further questions? Okay, thank you, Chuck.
A couple quick facility updates. We continue to make progress on our CDL lot down at the Fort Lupton campus, and also our greenhouse construction at the Fort Lupton campus. So both those projects continue to be on track and will be available this spring. So again, continuing to invest in our CDL program, which will be exciting, and moving that down to our Fort Lupton campus. So just a couple really quick updates on the facilities before I get into the really exciting topic of audit report, which it is exciting, but and maybe any other questions on any other facility projects that you have questions on? I just highlighted two very quickly, but any other questions?
Nope.
And just a final comment on, thank you for your support on the facility plan. You'll be proud of what we do for you. I thank you for your support, your trust in us, and we'll do it right. So thank you.
Okay.
Now the audit report. On October 25th, the audit committee met with our auditor from Clifton Larson Allen. They are the auditor. This is their second year for the audit of the college. And as I like to say, this is our accreditation visit every year. And members of the audit committee are Trustee Peterson, Trustee Hout, Dr. Bornstein, Kara Berg, our Assistant Vice President and Controller, Nancy Gray, our Executive Director of Financial Aid, and myself. And the audit manager from CLA presented the audit report, or the audit findings, the audit results to us at that committee report, and I'll give you a brief summary of that at this meeting. The scope of the audit is twofold. It's our financial statement audit, and it's also our single audit. The single audit is for major federal programs, and for us, that's our financial aid program. So it's kind of two audits in one. They do a financial statement to review our internal controls. They review our disbursements, and they offer an opinion on our financial statements to make sure that they're free of material mistakes and errors. On our single audit, it is to express an opinion on our compliance with the federal aid program, which is huge. I mean, that is, the Department of Ed relies upon that audit to ensure that we're meeting compliance in our federal financial aid program. Without it, we wouldn't qualify for financial aid, so it's a very important part of that audit. So on to the results. On the financial statement audit, the auditors will be issuing an unmodified opinion, which is the highest ranking of an audit. That means the financial statements are presented fairly, and there are no errors of any significance for them to report. There are no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. They were very complimentary of our fiscal team, of the accuracy of our records, of the availability of our information. We have, and I'll introduce the audit team at the December meeting, but they were very complimentary of our process and our team members and our fiscal processes here on the college. On to the student aid, the single audit. They will be issuing an unmodified opinion. Again, it is no errors or omissions. And again, that's much credit to our financial aid team of making sure that there's probably about 10,000 regulations that you have to keep track of in that area, I think. And they do a very thorough review. I mean, again, it's a major program, major federal dollars that come to this college, and they go through a very thorough review of that. So again, unmodified opinion on our single audit. The auditors are finishing up the actual report, and I'll be, at this point, I'm anticipating delivering that to the December meeting where you'll actually have the hard copy audit report. There were no other issues that the auditors have brought forward. They were finishing up a couple little topics when we met with the board or the committee. Those issues have all been resolved, and there's no reportable items on any front. So again, a very happy story. Again, I stand for any questions on the audit process. Again, this is a yearly audit that we get, and we're in very good shape.
I would just comment, Chuck, on as a member of that committee and listening to that early report, And there was somebody that said earlier in the workshop part of the meeting that, well, it's like you guys are a team. And it sort of seemed to me that that's what the audit review is, because I know that talked about if, you get a 56-page memo that says you're supposed to do something and trying to figure it out, so you call them, no matter what, and get some help. So I think that's a darn good way to operate. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you, yes.
Further comments? Yep, Carol.
Congratulations on the audits, both of them. That's awesome.
Thank you.
They had nothing but good accolades about staff
Right.
and your participation and connectivity there. That was, impressive.
Yeah.
You answered her questions before she asked them. She likes that.
Thank you.
I still think we shouldn't pay them, because aren't they supposed to find something wrong?
Yeah.
Isn't that the deal? And, I mean, why are they?
No, don't say that.
You don't want that. No flags, please.
Thank you.
Timothy Ullman, Vice President for Community and College Relations, would like to come up and give us some highlights, and then a specific update on foundation feasibility study, I believe, by Kelly Jackson.
Exactly. So, Board of Trustees members, Chair Peterson, Dr. Bornstein, good afternoon again. First of all, I want to say thank you for attending the legislative breakfast this morning. Was very well attended. We had a great representation of people from outside of Ames, and the comments that I heard afterwards were just fantastic. And I think the direction that we took with them, instead of asking them to do something for us, but saying, what can Ames do for you, was a nice, refreshing approach. And you could see around the room, I watched, and you could see the legislators, they kind of breathed a sigh of relief. But then also you saw the wheels start turning. So I took some notes and some just excellent things there. We look for opportunities to partner together. I know the representative from Senator Bennett's office came to me afterwards and said, I understand you're going to be there in D.C. in February. And I said, I'm going to bring some Board of Trustee members with me. He says, excellent. He says, we want to make sure that we get you plugged in there. And same thing for Representative Joe Neguse. His office said the same thing. So excellent. So thank you again for your support with that. And with that, need your support again tomorrow. We're going to feed you again tomorrow morning. We've got the Propel the Future. And this is just, again, you heard Mr. Ehrlich talk about it earlier. 10 years ago, they started the College Promise. And this is all about students and how Ames supports them. And so tomorrow is just building on that. And I'm going to use that as a segue, if I could, to ask Kelly Jackson to come up here. And she's going to talk about a feasibility study that the foundation is going to be doing.
Thank you, Timothy. Again, Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. B. Should have just stayed up here. In preparation for a major gifts campaign, the Ames Foundation will be conducting a feasibility study to assess the foundation, colleges, and communities' readiness for such a campaign. The study will assess if there is any pre-campaign preparation needed before going live with the ask to our communities. The foundation's intent is to raise $36 million in student support through funding the College Promise Scholarship Program and associated student support programs. The Major Gifts campaign will run concurrently with the construction of the Welcome Center, Student Commons, and Windsor expansion to allow the benefactors the opportunity for naming rights in support of the foundation's fundraising efforts to build the College Promise Scholarship Program. Clearly, it's a fundraising program for the College Promise Program. Timeline. The feasibility study will commence with individual interviews and community summits around the Ames service area to include Loveland, Windsor, Fort Lupton, and Greeley. Invitations to participate in individual interviews or a community summit will be sent in early spring semester. The consultant will compile and present the study findings shortly after the completion of the study. The foundation will then complete any necessary pre-campaign work with the intent to kick off the Major Gifts campaign later in the spring of 2020. Stay tuned. Any questions?
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
You know, great plan and
No,
good luck.
Thank you.
let's do the homework, you bet.
Thank you.
That concludes our report. Are there any other questions?
Questions? Nope, guess not.
Excellent.
You answered them
Thanks,
all.
Timothy.
Thank you. Dr. Weisgeber, Vice President for Student Engagement, Inclusion, and Success, would like to give us some highlights on the SACE division as well as an update specifically on the CDI, Center for Diversity and Inclusion.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Dr. Bornstein, Chair Peterson. I'd like to start my report this afternoon by inviting my colleagues up to share with you an annual update on the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. So first I'll be inviting Nelson Rodriguez. He is the Executive Director of SAIL, not of derailing, please know that, along with his colleague and my colleague, Mary Ann Lucero, who is the Director for the Center for Diversity and Inclusion.
Chair Peterson, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to begin by thanking you for your continued support of the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. As you may know, last week we celebrated our one-year anniversary, and included in your packets is a fact sheet for the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, which gives a snapshot of the students who have utilized the space as well as programs and initiatives that have come out of the CDI. And some pieces of information that I would like to highlight for you is that since we opened our doors on October 30th of 2018, we have had over 3,600 visits to the CDI. And more specifically, more specifically, out of those 3,600 visits, 490 of those visits have come from unduplicated or unique students. Which is something that we're very proud of. The space is being utilized by our students. And of the students who utilize this space, you'll see in the fact sheet, 51% of those students identify as Latinx, 67.5% identify as first generation, and over 55% identify as women. In addition to these visits, our team has also planned a variety of social, cultural, and educational programs in the last year, 22 to be exact. And out of those 22 programs, we've had close to 800 attendees. We continue to be very proud of these numbers, and I do want to invite my colleague, Mary Ann, here to speak a little bit more about what we have learned from this first year in terms of the impact that the space has had on our students and emerging themes that we see. So I'll turn it over to Mary Ann.
Thank you, Nelson. In addition to what Nelson has already mentioned, one of the more substantial things I have found through our survey of students are two themes that have continued to emerge. And the first one being is students are feeling a greater awareness and appreciation for differences as it relates to cultures and identities, social identities to be exact. The second being a feeling of a welcome environment, which includes, of course, the CDI. One student stated, and I quote, "Since the CDI opened, I found a place where I can be myself and take up room. It's an incredibly validating and safe space for me. The experience I have with the CDI are mine. The CDI allows me and people like me to explore parts of ourselves that we can't explore in other places." Over the past year, the CDI has become woven into the fabric of Ames. Because of your continued support, students recognize the CDI as a space where typical roles and responsibilities as a student can be lifted. A space where they can build unique connections with their peers, engage in critical dialogues related to social identities, and personalize their own educational experiences. For that, I thank the support of the board, the support of Dr. Bornstein as well. And since I have the mic, I would like to personally invite you and the audience to our upcoming CDI Fall Signature event, which is a keynote with Dolores Huerta on Friday, 11 to noon in the Perk Gym. And of course, we also will be celebrating Veterans Appreciation Week, November 11th through the 15th. The details of those events can be found in the SACE calendar of events located in your board packet. So again, thank you for your continued support of the CDI.
Great.
It's truly such a pleasure to have the opportunity to work with such amazing individuals who, a little more than a year ago, we had this idea of bringing up a Center for Diversity and Inclusion, and they had about, a few months to plan, 4 months to make it happen. And not only did they make it happen, but a year later, it's a part of who we are now. So thank you, Marianne and Nelson, for your continued work. Thanks, David, and all the peer specialists who are a part of the work that you all do. While we are talking about diversity and inclusion, I thought I would update you on some additional programs and things that are coming out of the SACE division dedicated to these efforts. We also have the Latinx Retention and Engagement Program. This is led by Director Mario Gonzalez. The goal of the program, he has two significant areas. One is a mentoring program, and the other is cultural programming. Currently, we have 19 mentor-mentee pairs, and the thing that's exciting about this mentoring program is it takes professionals in the community and here at Ames and partners them with students. So oftentimes we see peer mentoring happening, which is another best practice. This gives us a deeper insight and allows students to find someone to kind of look up to and to move forward on as they're thinking about their professional journey. We are going to be moving into, I believe it's our fourth year, Becca? Fourth year of alternative spring break. That will happen this year in March. The social issue will be going back down to Albuquerque. We're looking at exploring the ideas of homelessness in the LGBTQ community. Several students will go down there and understand the dynamics that are happening and also engage in service work while they are there. One thing I'm very excited to talk about is that we are working to become an LGBTQ-friendly college. There is a Campus Pride Index that rates different colleges across the nation that helps students understand where they can go to be safe and friendly. So we'll be engaging in an assessment of ourselves to see how we stack up and really try to do some work to ensure that we're a friendly and welcoming environment for folks who identify in the LGBTQ community. For our veteran students, I thought I would update you that we have a vital program on campus. This is veteran integration into academic leadership. Basically what this means is that we have additional counseling resources for veterans on campus 1 day a week. We supply the office space, we supply connections with Dr. Sosa, who works for the VA, to help connect our students so she can help them as they need to move through different VA requirements around counseling, medication, these sorts of things. And this prevents our students from having to drive up to Cheyenne to meet up there. So it's a great resource for our veteran students. Lastly, I'm very excited to announce that we will be prototyping an Office for Student Employment beginning January 2020. This is really exciting. Our Human Resources has done an excellent job taking care and helping our students along as they move through employment on campus. And through our partnership with them and understanding what we've learned from them, we are going to see if we can infuse some more student development into this student employment opportunity, as well as provide employment opportunities for students who are not currently work-study eligible. So what that means is that we will have the opportunity to pay students as employees out of institutional funds, which we haven't been able to do up to this point. So I'm so excited. I'll be thrilled to share with you the data as we move into next fall about what this means for our students in terms of retention, in terms of completion, in terms of engagement on campus. These are all things that we're really trying to hit as we think about how can we help support students as they're here and help them make them feel like they're part of our family. So with that kind of wraps up my presentation to the board. Are there any questions that I might answer?
Wow.
Yeah, I have a question, thank you. Are we reaching our veterans on campus? How much utilization are we seeing from our veterans at the CDI?
I'm going to ask Mary Ann to join me because I don't have those data on hand.
Currently, I would need to go through our reports as well to get that, but I will be sure to provide that to Sarah. Much of what we do within at least the Veterans Hub is engagement through different programs that are offered, in addition to providing the support services such as the VITAL program that Sarah has just mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's a fairly, I think students are coming in and out. I think like all student populations, some folks are interested in it and some folks aren't. And so, but we can certainly provide those numbers to you.
I found out in my experience, sometimes those people have to be encouraged, so.
There's a lot of outreach that needs to happen. We also have a Veterans Club on campus that works very strongly with the Veterans Hub and is quite active. So in fact, I'll be meeting with the president of that club on Friday.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, are we on our food insecurity and housing insecurity data, do we track that here at the college? Do we have an idea of how that's working? Or
So Dean McCaslin, as part of her work with the strategic plan regarding wellness, partnered with Hope Labs and conducted a survey this fall to track basic needs. Those data will become available to us in April, I believe, and that will shed some light on where we are with housing insecurity as well as food insecurity. I will, next month in December, be providing a report and an update on our emergency funds, where we're at with emergency fund spending, as well as our care program, Artie's Pantry on all of the campuses and so forth. So that might get us a bridge until we have a stronger number of students.
another question, because at the conference in this past month, there was one, Maricopa, right?
Yeah, Maricopa.
They have a, Rise. It's called Rise. It's a web app that they can go to for resources that are available in each community, whether it's food banks, what have you. And I have some background information on that, or you can contact them too as well. One of the things that because they have like 100,000 students. It's like a huge community college, just in the Phoenix region that way. Needless to say, they're homeless. They have students that are homeless, but they might be staying on campus and they're parked in their cars, but the law enforcement's aware of those individuals and they don't really kind of police that. So they have a security blanket to some extent. Do we approach our security that way?
We are looking into different options. So this
follow me
idea.
on that?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you follow my question on that?
You're asking what we do currently, and I would have to defer to John Fultz on what we do currently. I will share that as we try to understand the intricacy and the nuance of our students who are homeless, so not necessarily many of our students don't identify as being homeless.
Right.
They identify as I'm staying at a friend's house or I'm crashing on a couch somewhere, right? That's the language. And so to try to understand the nuance around that is a little bit more difficult. There are, in California, there was some work moving to create safe parking opportunities for students on community college campuses where there were spaces that are designed to help keep students safe if they are in their cars. There's some interesting data coming out of California about that practice, and what we're also finding is it's certainly more common in the warmer states, right?
Right.
So California, down south, those sorts of things, it makes it a little bit more difficult here. But I can certainly get that information to you about what our current practice is with overnight security issues.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any additional questions?
I'm just curious of the counseling veterans that you talked about. Do you have any feel as to how well that's being used?
You know, I know Dr. Sosa is on campus 1 day a week. She is back-to-back the days that she's here. I will be meeting with her this Tuesday to better understand how our students are utilizing her services. So to be clear, students are eligible to use student counseling both within the student counseling services as well as with the VITAL program. The benefit for the VITAL program is if veterans are required to have counseling in order to get their prescriptions or whatnot, that's why it might be advantageous for them to work with her versus some of the other counselors we have on campus. So I don't know that we could say she's the only person serving counseling needs for veterans on the Ames campuses.
But it's certainly more convenient, for sure.
It's great for them. Yeah, it's great for them to mitigate some of the travel issues and taking off a class to make VA appointments and whatnot.
Right. Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any further?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Dee Schultz, Executive Director of Human Resources, is making her way up to the podium. Annually, we have our Human Resources report that Dee will go over, as well as our Clery report that I believe John Foltz will be presenting. So this is your annual Human Resources at Ames and how Ames fares with regard to the National Clery report data requirements.
Good afternoon, trustees and Dr. Bornstein. I'd like to start out by highlighting some of our accomplishments this past year. The initiative that we are most grateful and appreciative of falls under Strategic Tactic Line 46, which is the completion and implementation of the new compensation structure. With this implementation, we were able to address hard-to-fill positions and realign our internal equity. Thank you again for your support with this project. In early June, we held our first ever Customer Engagement Institute. Pete Blank, author of Employee Engagement, Lessons from the Mouse House, was the presenter. There's a copy of the book floating around for your review. I just wanted to point out that the tab in the book highlights one of our esteemed colleagues. This event came to fruition from reviewing the results of the Employee Engagement Survey, which is noted on our strategic tactic, line 38. Components of this institute included love what you do, your organization, your manager, your coworkers, all of which impact the level of engagement. 71 employees received a very special invitation from Artie. They were selected for this program because a good portion of their duties included customer service. This event was an all-day event and was held at the Hilton downtown. Day 2 consisted of a 3-hour training event for their supervisors and a 1-hour training event for cabinet. We couldn't leave them out of that. Some of the survey comments about what was most valuable included, the most valuable takeaway for me is how I can provide excellent customer service by being consistent. 2 consistent Another comment, evaluating my own relationship to my job was quite valuable. This was the best training I've ever been to. Pete Blank was an excellent speaker and was very engaging. Another comment, I appreciated the college creating space and time for community-wide training and growth. This was a great opportunity for our staff who provide that daily support for our students, community, and colleagues. Other accomplishments for this past year included increased utilization of our employee assistance program, annual health fair, and revitalization of the building coordinator program. This program empowers selected employees in each of the buildings across all the campuses to assist campus safety and security with situations related to safety in the work and classroom environment. For instance, they assist with fire and tornado drills, and they are trained to help with evacuations and lockdowns. This is a very valuable program that gives employees the opportunity to have an active role in or with workplace safety. So I'll talk a little bit about the employee profile data. The data that was provided to you is a one-time snapshot as of September 2019. We're currently at 1,110 employees, which is slightly up from 1,055 employees from last year. Full-time is up from 385 to 416, and part-time is up from 670 to 694. A majority of these numbers reflect an increase of faculty and full and part-time positions. These numbers do not reflect positions that are currently vacant or positions that were just filled. They also do not reflect the 188 student employee positions through the work-study program. Gender, age, tenure, ethnicity profiles continue to be fairly consistent over the past several years. There is a slight increase of Hispanic or Latino employees from 7.5% to 12.5%.
That's good.
Turnover rate is down from just under 11% to 7.49%, and we continue to be well below the higher ed industry of 13.4%. In our recruiting efforts this past year, we have successfully filled 486 positions and screened almost 3,000 applicants. We continue to offer amazing health benefits for our employees. 3 years ago, we added Kaiser as a provider option, and last year we were able to increase the number of tier options. Under our talent management and retention efforts, we are very fortunate to be able to offer a wide variety of professional development opportunities. You heard about quite a few of them today in some of the various reports. We also provide wellness activities and continued education opportunities through the tuition waiver and reimbursement benefit. The professional development offerings are provided in many formats, such as on-campus facilitated training sessions ranging from 1-hour lunch and learns to all-day sessions. Through the learning portal, we can offer online, on-demand training, and staff can apply for funds to support attendance at conferences. Conferences give employees the opportunity to stay up on best practices and network with others in their field. As one of our initiatives under Strategic Tactic Line 39, we're beginning to utilize the learning portal to customize training for departments. Some of our first customers include PERC employees, F&O grounds department, and the building coordinators. All of these learning opportunities definitely impact our recruiting and retention efforts in a very positive way. We have significant savings when we can offer professional development opportunities on campus. We realize a savings of just over $350 per participant. Participation in these types of events has increased from 860 to almost 1,200 this past year. One challenge we have with on-campus events is having limited meeting space. For instance, Title IX training is a required annual training for all of our supervisors. And due to the nature of this training, it can be difficult to find space to adequately support this event. So thank you for your support with that. In closing, we are excited about the initiatives we are currently working on. In recruiting, we are adding a talent assessment tool to our process, and we have enhanced our advertisement options. We're implementing a compensation management tool which will allow us to maintain the work we have done with our compensation structure. And the big implementation, which is the ERP implementation for HR and finance this year, will have a go-live date of July 1. That is my report. Do you have any questions for me? Yes.
A question on the percent of our employees that are full-time versus part-time. Many industries have moved more toward part-time employees. Is ours pretty stable, or how has it moved over the last years?
We've been fairly stable with our percentages and the differences. We have gone down slightly with our staff positions and gone up with our part-time staff positions and have gone up on our full-time staff positions. We're also focusing on more in the academic areas, where is our goal to have additional full-time faculty positions versus part-time, just to provide that consistency. So that is an objective, is to provide that stability.
Okay, thank you.
A question here on medical benefits. It says enrolled full-time 389, is that correct?
Yes.
So out of the 1,100 employees?
So out of that 1,100, you have part-time employees who are not eligible for the health plans. We do have some part-time employees who are eligible for the medical per the Affordable Care Act.
Okay. So we almost insure all of our full-time employees.
Yes,
Okay.
and those that we don't is maybe because they have insurance somewhere else.
Through another spouse.
Right, and they choose to decline or waive.
Yeah. They get a kickback?
No.
I don't have a question, but just a comment, and I can't find it on a dang computer, but you said the turnover rate for faculty, I believe, was like, what, 7%?
For all employees.
For all employees?
Yes.
And the average, I don't remember now, it was national?
13, just over 13% is the national average in higher ed.
Which I think really tells us something about maybe our salaries are okay.
Our salaries, our benefits, and I highlighted the professional development because when we make the job offers and we highlight the professional development, we get a lot of positive comments back about that, and the ability to further their education or just even be able to have that professional development throughout the year is very important to people.
Yeah. Good job.
Yes.
Once again.
Now I'd like to introduce John Foltz, Director of Campus Safety and Security, for his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee.
Good afternoon, Chair Peterson, Board of Trustees, Dr. B. This year's annual Clery report, I'll kind of go over a little bit of history of the Clery report before I present it to you guys. Just so you know, the Gene Cleary report is based off of a student. I'll still talk. Based off of a student that was brutally murdered on a college campus in Lehigh University several years ago. So since then, it was federally mandated that all colleges and institutions that are federally mandated, fall under federal guidelines, had to produce this report annually. You probably got an email or something through your mass notification from Vice President Timothy's office stating that this was available for you to review, the statistics that were out. So we have posted this online. It's always available, and we're mandated for anybody that's maybe coming into the college to be able to review this report. This also keeps track of our emergency notifications, our timely warnings. It collects all the stats from any of the stats that are reported to are happening or occur on our campus or near our campus. We are mandated to keep track of 8 offenses, and this is all college campuses. This is all of our campuses, so this is not just the Greeley campus. Those 8 offenses are listed right here. Thank God we don't have many stats on any of these because we're not building dorms. I'll re-emphasize that. As long as we don't have the dormitories, these stats stay kind of low. So all the other buildings I'm in support of, but the dorms keep these numbers pretty low. Here's some other violations as far as arrests and referrals, and these are alcohol violations, drug violations, and weapon violations as well. These also, by the referrals, it means they have to go through the Dean of Students office, where the Vice President, Sarah, and our SIT team, we discussed these, and they would be disciplined by either probation or expelled. Those stats will be reflective on the annual security report. As far as our Clery geography or where we're reporting at, on campus, of course, means on the college campus, inside our buildings, if these stats or these crimes are happening there, our non-campus buildings. So that would be something like our early college, where we own that building, but it supports the educational mission of Ames. So we would have to report on that as well. So we do have a direct relationship with that, of all the reporting statistics of the events that happen there that maybe fall into one of these categories. They're reported to our offices. Public property, we are obligated to report from the sidewalk, street, sidewalk. Don't ask me where they got that definition from, but that's a federal definition of what I have to report for. Yes.
So would this then also include our Berthoud property, even though we don't have any facilities there?
No, because we don't have any property, because we don't have any buildings on there.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Good, very good question. So we put a building there, we will be reporting it from there soon.
Okay.
And just so you know, those statistics are collected. What I do is I send out a letter to the local police departments. Plus I have we have the luxury of having our Weld County sheriffs. I receive a monthly report from their office on any reports that may have a crime that occurred on our campus. Whether it falls in one of these categories or not, they supply that to us as well. Also, per VAWA, and this kind of falls in line with our Title IX coordinator, Stephanie Lucero, any kind of reports of sexual assaults, rapes, anything like that that happens on our campuses or with one of our students that maybe go through the referral process of our Dean of Students or our Vice President, Sarah, we are obligated to report and then put on our crime report as well. So our stats right here, these are our stats, and these are from all campuses that I put onto one spreadsheet. If you want to go and see them on individually, you can go into the actual report, and they're broken down to each individual campus. Pretty low. I know when I first started doing this, I went to the Cleary School training at the Oklahoma State University, and I sat down with one of the vice presidents of the Cleary Center and asked her, is this typical for our stats to be at low? And she kind of looked it over, and she's like, yeah, you're okay. You're doing fine. She's like, and after I told her we didn't have any student housing, she's like, oh, that's why your numbers are so low. So here we go. So I mean, that's pretty much it on how we do that. I do want to say, in regards to this summer where you guys invited myself and Dean McCaslin to come in to do the kind of do the threat assessment and kind of take you through the proactive measures that we are doing to keep these stats low. Thank you for inviting us to that retreat and taking the time to invest and see what we do to keep these stats down and how to be 2 steps ahead of these crimes that may occur on the campus. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions, members? I would just like to comment that I really appreciated your presentation at that, what was our retreat, wasn't it? And I am just really impressed about how on top of things, you know, I mean, it just seems like that any little event triggers some really in-depth kind of, not surveillance, well, maybe it is surveillance, but I just thought, man, that's just really great, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just also comment, when I first look at that, your statistics on that spreadsheet, God, there's a lot of zeros there. Shouldn't you get some 1s or 5s? No. Well, I'm used to seeing 1s and 5s.
That's right.
And I will say it is a team effort. Our SIT team, we have a really good team where we're really sit down and we all work together and we communicate really together on all that stuff like that. On this annual security report, special thanks to Brianne, I don't know where she's at, Brianne Ostowich, and Allison Tuna, who were very critical in reviewing the report and send it back to me 2 or 3 times and then saying, what is this? And with all the red marks like I was in college again, but special thanks to them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great report.
So then the last comments are of president's meetings of note from October. So you'll see that on page 67 of your board packet under president's report. That's pretty much what I've been doing this last month, which has been reflected in many of the conversations we've been having today. Please know that this is, again, not an exhaustive list. This is meetings of note. And we were together for ACCT, so there's several in there from when we were at the conference. I'm just taking a look. I think you probably are familiar with most of the things on here, but if you have any questions specifically of anything that you'd like me to chat about, I'm happy to do so.
I would just ask you, what is the AFA leadership?
The Ames
Air Force
Faculty
Academy?
Association.
Oh.
Ames Faculty Association. So I meet with
Okay,
the
all
Faculty
right,
Association
okay.
officers
Okay, I thought-
periodically.
okay.
Yep, okay.
All right.
I can spell things out from now on.
Well, I should have thought of that, but
That's
I
okay.
just
I can spell them.
caught my eye.
So coming up, just so that you know, business travel, actually tomorrow and Friday, I'll be down in Denver. The Western Interstate Commission on Higher Education, WICHE, is holding their biannual meeting there. And I've been invited as a guest, so I'll be down there for that. And then the AFIT, the Alliance for Innovation and Transformation, the executive committee meets for their steering committee meeting in November. So I'll be there for the 20th to the 22nd. If there
Very
aren't
good.
any questions, I will continue on to the hiring reports.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, actually, no, sorry. So the next page in there, I forgot
All
about that. You may be familiar with the El Pomar Foundation throughout Colorado, and they have regional councils, if you will, where there are several regional, I don't want to say trustees, but members, regional members, that focus on helping El Pomar Foundation across the state understand the needs and nuances of different sections of the state. They approached me, and I think in one of the updates that I sent you a month ago, I was being vetted for one of the seats, and this letter is the invitation for me to accept their seat for our Northern Colorado region.
Mm-hmm.
So to continue with being visible in the community, in the broader community, Northern Colorado, I've accepted that regional council seat. I believe Bob Toynton had that seat, and he is rolling off, and so that seat is the one that I have accepted. So just wanted you to have that
Great.
letter in there so that you know that that's happening.
That may make it easier for us to get some funds.
Maybe. Who knows? We will see.
Okay.
And then finally, the employee report. I would like to ask if there are any supervisors in the audience that have new employees that they would like to introduce. I know I'm only looking here right now because I'm in the microphone, but if you could raise your hand and keep it up, or just go ahead and stand up, supervisors.
That's up behind here.
Thank you. Good.
Hello, I'm Kelly Richardson. I'm a senior academic advisor here at the college, and I'm here to welcome Dr. Susan Anderson to our advising team. She holds a doctorate in education, curriculum, and instruction, a master's of arts and communication from the University of Central Florida, a master of fine arts and creative writing from the Logan University, and a bachelor of arts in English from St. Joseph's University. She has extensive experience in higher education, and in fact, she was a Fulbright Scholar at the Republic of Lithuania. So please welcome her to our academic.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm also a senior academic advisor. I'd like to introduce Sarah Cameron. She's our new academic advisor for the Arts, Design, and Social Science pathway. She holds a Bachelor's of Arts in English, Creative Writing from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota, where she was a McNair Scholar. She has served 2 terms as an AmeriCorps Vista, developing family and community engagement programs in Montana and Minnesota. And prior to AIM, Sarah spent 5 years working with the team, where she prepared low-income and first-generation students, or middle and high school students for college. So we are very lucky that she decided to join us here at Ames with her experience and passion.
I thought I'd take just a minute. I do not have a new employee in facilities, however. Right behind me here, we have the entire architect and contractor team. Talked about in the work session, building those relationships. Here's that team.
Stand up, yeah.
And I'm Claire Kopp. I'm the Senior Academic Advisor over at the Windsor campus, and I'm thrilled to introduce Sarah Enner, who many of you already know. She has a long depth of tenure here with us at Ames, so she's coming over to Windsor to help out with advising on our campus. And she had a beautiful introduction at the Ripple, so she's an awesome employee. So we're super thrilled about this.
And that concludes the President's report. Chair Peterson.
Okay, thank you, Dr. B. Okay, moving right along. Correspondence, Carrie, anything other than in the packet?
Not other than in your packet.
Okay.
Which is in your packet.
Right, okay. Board calendar, everybody's had a shot at. We've discussed it several times, but is there anything that we need to add to it, or I would just remind everybody that we will meet on the second Wednesday next month rather than the first Wednesday, so be aware of that, which I'm sure you are, but just a reminder. And if you don't remember me minding you, I know somebody else that will. Okay, trustee elections and debriefing. I don't, okay, good. I'm sorry, Carrie.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. The November 5th Board of Trustees election was coordinated with the counties of Weld, Adams, Broomfield, Larimer, Logan, and Morgan. The unofficial election results are District A, Heidi Wendell. And I would just like to take this opportunity to introduce Heidi, which just happens to be here today. Okay. So if you would please stand. From District B, the unofficial result is incumbent Mark Hout.
That's you, Mark.
From District E is incumbent Lyle Loxiger. And I don't want to be a killjoy here, but I do want to note that these are unofficial results. Per Colorado Revised Statute 110-203, the campus board from each county has until November 27th to certify the official abstract of votes cast. After certification has been received, I will notify each successful candidate. And those candidates will be sworn in at the December 11th board meeting. Right. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments?
No.
No? You got lucky again, huh? Okay, board, I guess it's down to us now, and I guess there's a time now to make any comments you'd like to on the ACT Leadership Conference.
Well, I would just comment that it's interesting to attend a national conference like that, and as you sit in on various presentations, and they're selected to present because they have outstanding programs to talk about. And quite often, as I'm listening to the presentation, I think, Well, we already do that.
Right, that's,
Just over and over again,
Yeah.
which just confirms that you all do a great job and keep us state-of-the-art. And as Chair Peterson mentioned today, we're pleased to be the #1 community college in Colorado and seeking to be,
We
if
are.
we aren't already, the #1 in the nation.
yeah. I agree.
Congratulations on the good job that you all do.
One of the workshops was presented by our very own cabinet. Is that what it was? Yeah.
We had
Okay.
several
so-
members of our cabinet there,
Yeah.
along with our partner, Campus Works.
And we had pretty good attendance. It was a lot, sort of late in the day, you know, but I sat in on it. Well, we all did, and it was really interesting. And there was a lot of good questions that came from the audience, you know, that showed that they were really involved and interested in what we were doing. Any other comments? I mean, you don't have to, but...
No, I think we had a lot of comment today, for sure. But all of it positive. I appreciate the cabinet and Dr. B's patience with our decision process and how we made it a little bit more linear for us. It gave us a little bit of perspective. I'm very happy to see the participation from some of our, Dr. Pilch and Andy, regarding our build-out and their enthusiasm about it, as well as our city manager and Scott and Martin and all of that. That was supportive measures. We have some names behind our decision, which is kind of additionally helpful. The coalitions that I see occurring between UNC and District 6 and our other school districts, I see they're always in the. That's becoming a very important continuum, because our school districts feed our college, and our college can feed UNC, and so it's just a natural evolution. But it's also gives every student the potential to have a career potential realized somewhere between 15 and 20 years of age, which would be a great acknowledgement for us to kind of work towards. And so those high school graduates can have some reasonable, attainable goals.
Right.
And those coalitions, I appreciate this college participating that way. And we're doing some great things, and you guys should be very proud of yourselves. We're proud of you. Thank you.
Carol, you have any comments about the conference?
I didn't go.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't. And
you want to talk about
it's the first thing I've missed. I was fortunate to join the board at the point where we were far enough out of the recession that there was travel money again for the board. And so I joined the board in November, and in February we went to Washington to the legislative conference. And my predecessor was annoyed, to put it mildly, because she hadn't gotten to go anyplace in her 8 years on the board because the finances weren't there. And I'm following Trustee Larry Wood's example of not going to this one because I'm going off the board in a month. And I didn't see that there was a whole lot of value add for the money it would have cost the college for me to go. So that's why I wasn't there. Okay. And I don't think I did a whole lot of damage as the only trustee left in the state while they were all gone partying.
Well, we talked about you a bit.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Lyle, any comments? Or,
Well, I'd just like to reiterate, it's a great conference. It's always good to go to, and we always learn something, usually quite a bit. But if we don't do anything but verify how well we're doing, it's well worth it. And we always do that. It's been said here before today. We go there and we go to these things and say, well, we're doing that. I was actually fortunate enough to weigh in on a couple of comments in some of our sessions about things we're doing, and mostly in the area of our board retreats. I attended a lot of sessions on governance this time. It was interesting, and it's amazing how many colleges across the country don't have
Don't do
board
that.
retreats.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And to listen to some of the issues that they have and the problems they have, I think they
It's
would
not
be well
surprising.
served to start having
Yeah,
board
yeah.
retreats. And that was certainly suggested to the ones who spoke up. So, but as you might suspect, we're doing very well in that category as well. So I think I brought some things back that I can share with the board at our next retreat, but I'll save that for the retreat. But, other than that, it was a great conference and much value.
Well, I would just agree with everything that's been said. I mean, it's always great to rub elbows with other board members and, you know, hear what they're doing and talk to them about what we're doing, and it just makes for a lot of collegiality, whatever that is, yeah. And Gene's comment of, well, we're already doing that, and that's, heard that often. I mean, it was really rewarding, you know, to know that sort of, I mean, we knew it, but, you know, to have others saying the same thing. And I've said this many times, but I don't know how many times I would go to a workshop and they'd started off by saying, well, in our time of declining enrollment and declining finances, here's what we have to do. And a lot of times it was just pure begging, but and I'm sitting there thinking, well, sorry folks, we don't have these problems, you know, and it just is really great. And you guys are a wonderful institution, and we're proud of you, and it's just great. So, any comments about the process today? You already done yours, so.
Well, can I go back to the ACT?
No. Okay, go ahead.
No, I did. There was some great apprenticeship. I have some notes that I didn't bring on that.
I do too.
And some Jumpstart apprenticeship programs are actually state funded in the Carolinas. Be interesting to see what those models look like. Our apprenticeship program that we're going to start engaging with seems to be similar. Getting those job awards, as well as fast start programs that industry participates in and gets the training module set up, and then they hire the students right after a 9-week crash course. That was kind of interesting. That was down in Texas, as I remember. And kind of I focused on that workforce industry model typically when I go to these conferences, try to pick up some knowledge. The Maricopa their presentation on this app that's on a phone that students can have. It's called RISE, R-I-S-E, and I think it's RISE. You might have to say Maricopa Community College, something like that. And there's an app that actually can give students that becomes a support mechanism that's supposed to work nationwide. And they would like feedback because that program kind of developed from Apple's Anyone Can Code, which is a process that they're teaching students how to code. So if they have an app idea, they can kind of put it to merit and possibly earn an income or at least donate it, which is kind of a neat thing. And this RISE app came out of a philanthropic point of view, and it was implemented, and it's supporting at least those students there and elsewhere across the nation. But you might have to call that one person there. I got her contact information.
Okay.
That was my
okay.
And I already made my other comments.
Okay.
So
Right. Any comments about our process? And Gene?
I would like to express my appreciation to the health sciences team that took time today to explain their various programs to the board. And as you might expect, that's a program of particular interest to me because of my healthcare background and being a part of putting that program together during my time at North Colorado Medical Center, and to see how that program has evolved in their offerings, their technology, it's impressive. And I think you can be very proud of what you offer to your students through that program. Great job.
Further, Lyle?
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. That was an extremely informative tour of what they've done over there at the Allied Health. And I want to emphasize for anybody in the room that might not know it, we're so well equipped over there, such state of the art, that we're actually set up to serve as a surgical center, a radiology clinic, etc. If there were to be a disaster in the community, we can actually bring doctors out here and set up and actually treat trauma patients or medical patients out there. And I can't even imagine how you could express our value to the community in that respect alone. That's just incredible. That's unheard of. So kudos to Ames for doing that, and especially to the Allied Health Department and the people who set that up. As far as today, I just want to say this was a great effort. This was exceptional in presenting to our community who we are and what we can do for our community. And I just want to commend the effort that went into this, all the vetting of the questions that we had in coming to our decision today. I can't say enough about what a great team we put together here and how well we work together. Thank you.
Very good, Carol.
And I'd also like to thank the people who ran the tours after the legislative breakfast this morning, going through ATTC and then the aviation building. It's always impressive to see those things, and it's always impressive to hear from our folks about what they're doing for students. And that certainly was the emphasis of what we're doing for students. And it was nice to be able to show those off to some of our guests this morning.
I would echo that comment too. In fact, I guess I had about an hour to just wander around campus and take a look at things. I've never been in a library, so, you know, I got up there. Well, I got close to the trio office, and I got kidnapped. We're going to tell you about what we're doing here and how good we are, which was just really neat. And that was, I also went to the cultural center and just got treated like royalty. I mean, it was just incredible, and which adds to the comments earlier about how friendly everybody is, and it just really shows just all over campus. So I would also thank the board for our good work today. I sincerely believe we've taken a major step into the future, and we're talking about keeping the campus and all campuses, frankly, really up to speed, being very proud of them and showing our best. So thank you, guys. Any other comment? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anybody in favor? Say aye.
Everybody.
Okay.